And the theme for today is looking ahead. We quickly run through the RUM program before we invite Pat and Gerhard to do a short introduction.
Welcome everybody. Today's session actually is fairly informal, but it is an invite-only session because I think as the Biennale is gearing up to opening, we also want to at the same time think about the future of these mega exhibitions, whether in Singapore, the region, and elsewhere. Because I think part of the process of organizing the Biennale in Singapore, we've been starting to think about a lot of things that could impact, I think, the future of visual art in Singapore and the region. And so today's session is basically a preamble to a much larger roundtable that we hope to do during the opening days of the Biennale. And usually half the time in a lot of Biennales and exhibitions, you have symposiums, and usually now the hot topic, or people keep talking about it all the time, is about Biennales, the question of whether we want it, why is there a new one, and so on and so forth. But half the time usually there are just a bunch of people sitting around the session complaining or promoting their own Biennale. But I think what we are more interested in is to move toward a more constructive solution, or perhaps come up with more interesting collaborations and relationships with other institutions, other mega exhibition platforms, and hopefully some kind of residency program that can be set up for curators, for artists, for critics to this part of the world. Because I think, even as the mega exhibitions begin to grow everywhere else, the kind of connections and linkages will begin to grow. But I think Singapore being Singapore, it would be great to have, I think, some kind of a locus here that we can develop stronger connections with our partners elsewhere. And so today, we're also very fortunate to have Pat and Gerhard from Universe, and basically they are sort of like the nodal point of a lot of information about Biennales all over the world. And they're going to start off today with sort of a brief survey of sorts of the kind of exhibitions that's gone on, that they have worked on themselves, as well as those that they've observed, and perhaps even pulling out certain elements and strands that we can begin as a springboard for discussion. Because I think in the sort of invite that I sent around, some of you may ask me the very cryptic line of talk less and do more. And I think, unfortunately, we might have to do that today, to talk more and do less. But I sincerely hope that perhaps today, at the end of the day, we can begin this process of developing this structure for the roundtable in September. Because I think the one in September, we'll probably think about maybe a 2-day session where basically one idea is to have one closed and one open, so that basically we are talking about setting up almost some kind of confirmed partnerships with the various institutions that you represent, so that it can be a beginning of some kind of association of council of different exhibitions that can work together. And I think the artists who are here today, one of the key things is to listen to your voice and perhaps what you need from these exhibitions. Because in my sort of encounters with a lot of artists in the Biennale circuit, half the time they always say they have no time to think and to develop the work, because they're always running from one Biennale to the next, and it's kind of difficult sometimes to continue creating the body of work in this way. So I think the presence of the artists together with the curators today is to sort of begin this kind of dialogue and create a platform that we can work together. So I'll hand this time over to Pat and Gerhard, who will begin leading us to
speculation with biennials. In fact, we are working for quite a lot of years in relation to biennials. But we thought that our talk today, what we will say today, will be just a brief introduction for the discussion, focused on two main issues. One main issue should be what could be the impact of a biennial in Singapore. This is an issue that you should discuss. We only can show some examples from other biennials in different parts of the world, how this works, and how it is possible to use such a mega event like a biennial for different possibilities, different purposes. But before, we would like to make a short introduction to the issue of biennials in general, but based on a Biennale roundtable that happened 6 years ago. And in fact, Hong had the idea that during the Singapore Biennial, or that Singapore with its position here in Southeast Asia as a hub of culture, as a hub of information, could be also a hub of the discussion of the biennials. Well, there is a need of discussion. You can see simply in our calendar, we are publishing on our website a calendar. These are the biennales that will happen, that will open in September. Fortunately, Singapore is the first one. But there are 10 biennials that will open this year in September. Not this year in general, but only in September. Well, regarding this issue, Hong had the idea that it would be good to discuss, this is very new, in the context of this very new biennial of Singapore, the possibilities of
I'm very curious to see what happens, but from the very beginning, I feel a little bit uneasy to think of an international event going to a place where they are going to teach. It's just they are communicating that there is an audience that has to learn. Of course, every audience has to learn, but not so overtly as going and imposing an art school. I don't know, maybe I know too little about it. But this is what gave it to me at the very beginning. But maybe somebody knows more about the concept and can tell me that it's wrong. And going to Cyprus, well, there must be no art there, so let's go and have an art school. I don't know.
I just found out from